All right, so that was punk. I want to talk about interpreting the punk feel in different ways. Because I had mentioned in the video, this guy's playing straight up and down. The thing about it is, as with any music, is there is room to swing. There's room to interpret the feel outside of the metrics of time. You can have a punk beat that's just straight up and down. Or you can get more of a swingy kind of feel to the punk beat, like you might hear in this sample from Dave Ron of Lagwagon.
But you will utterly alienate. No one can appreciate the poor misunderstood. Can you see that?
Those may sound the same, but they're not the same. And it has to do with the hi-hat and the bass drum, and the way that the hi-hat and the bass drum is played to change how the feel is interpreted. So on a straight up and down punk beat, you're going to have stroked bass drum notes that are evenly placed. Now, if you wanted to swing it a little more, you might just loosen up. What you can also do is change how you play the bass drum. And instead of doing 2 solid strokes on the bass drum, you could do heel toe. Or you can completely omit one of the notes and play it with what I think is the most swinging way to play a punk beat, which is to drop one of the double notes and just play this figure this way. As for the hi-hat, a way to change the feel, instead of playing every note on the hi-hat, you can do what Eric Sandlin does from No Effects, where he plays 3 notes to produce a forward-moving hi-hat figure that complements the snare and the bass drum, but it also gives his hand a break. So he's not constantly playing every single note on the hi-hat. By changing it up and playing this 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and da 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 da. You can also change how you play the hi-hat completely by not even playing the downbeats, just play the offbeats with the snare. Which can remove some of the rigidity of the 8th notes that are holding it together and allow you to open up and maybe swing it a little bit more. Getting back to this feel where you omit one of the bass drums, now you're essentially just playing boom, 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 boom. Well, at that speed, that almost feels like a 3 feel underneath a cut time feel, because that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. But at high speeds, and you add the snare on the top of that, you get this. So that's just some ways to interpret punk beats in ways other than the, what you might see on paper. That's kind of what we're talking about here. Is if you were to transcribe a punk beat, they would all look the same on a score or on a sheet of music, essentially, but they would all sound different. And it's because of what drummers bring to the table, which is their own feel, their own way of playing something. So look at all these examples. Go ahead and go listen to some of this old stuff. This is all applicable to metal drumming too. While metal is a little bit more rigid in its metrics, there's still room to interpret certain ways of playing and certain beats and certain feels that you can make unique to yourself by exploring all of these different ways of feeling a certain kind of beat. And this punk beat is totally applicable because this is a beat that is used in metal as well as in punk. It's just a rock beat, sped up to tweaker speeds. So start there. Start with your rock beat, speed it up, get it to a high speed, then go back and slow it down again and then play it differently and play it with a different kind of feel. Change something in how you're interpreting it and then speed that up. Another thing you can do is switch from the hi-hat to the ride cymbal so you can get these cool figures where the hi-hat, and this is similar to a blast beat in that you play a blast, you can do anything with your hands. You can do anything with your hands. And the same is applicable on these punk beats, is instead of playing it on the hi-hat, you can play it on the ride and give it a little ride bell and do something like this. So it's all open for interpretation. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of direction on where you can go when you're exploring new beats, new feels, new grooves, and just kind of open the box a little bit and play something tight. So anyway, I think that'll do it. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.